Hello and welcome to Workforce Diversity Management. In this first chapter, we will talk about what is diversity and what would be a common definition that we can hopefully all agree upon. Before we start with chapter one, first of all, I would like to thank you for your interest in learning more about workforce diversity management. Second, I would like to thank all the students, all the faculty, as well as all the corporate trainers and coaches, both in the United States as well as outside of the United States, around the globe, for using this book to make the workplace a little bit more equitable and inclusive. Third, I just want to note that in these short summaries, you will get a highlight of each chapter. In other words, a small subset of the topics will be covered in these PowerPoint presentations, so they're not a substitute for reading the textbook, which brings you a lot of rich content and literature that can be practiced and put into the workplace almost immediately. And finally, I would like to say good luck to you in making this world a little bit better because of your knowledge, because of your passion, and because of your behaviors in the workplace. Good luck. Regarding the book content and layout on workforce diversity management, first of all, the book will enhance your awareness of diversity issues in the workplace. Secondly, the idea and the goal is to make you a little bit more culturally competent in dealing with teammates and workforce. Additionally, the book provides certain skills in various chapters, a lot of cases and exercises to create awareness and competency in the area of diversity management, equity, and inclusion. Diversity, equity, and inclusion related issues are likely to impact a person's head, a person's heart, and a person's day-to-day habits every single day. So when we talk about the concepts related to becoming culturally competent or becoming more inclusionary and having an equitable workplace, we're talking about gaining more knowledge, being passionate about providing a fair environment for all your colleagues as well as yourself, and also living a life that you can be proud of every single day. That's why diversity management, equity, and inclusion is said to be about cognitive development, about developing your passion to do what is right, having strong feeling and motivation to do so, and also to make sure our behaviors are aligned with our feelings and motivation, as well as our knowledge of facts based on evidence in today's workplace. So we need to create alignment between our head, heart, and habits every single day in order for us to create an inclusionary work environment for ourselves, for our colleagues, and for our customers and clients in the workplace. Someone once said that heaven is a place where the lovers are Italian, the cooks are French, the mechanics are German, the police are English, and the Swiss run the government. And hell is a place where the lovers are Swiss, the cooks are English, the mechanics are French, and the police are German, and Italians run the government. Obviously, all of these statements are based on stereotypes and our perception of what a culture stands for or what happens based on one or two news articles about a society, about a culture, about a government. So despite the fact that there might be some beauty and diversity, we need to keep in mind we cannot pass on biases and misinformation in the workplace. So diversity can be fun, but in the meantime, we need to make sure diversity management is based on facts, not stereotypes, not biases. So what is diversity? Diversity can be a number of things. It can be about being different or alike. It's about inspiration as well as perspiration. It's about sadness and gladness. It's about privilege or lack thereof. It's about culture, it's about religion, it's about love, hatred, animosity, physical ability, sexual orientation, about cultural differences, age differences, and generational gaps. It's about generational gaps between individuals and their experiences and so on. So the topic of diversity often evokes powerful and emotional responses for everyone who is aware that they are impacted by it, whether it's directly or indirectly that they are impacted by various diversity dimensions. Although there has been an increase in diversity in specific fields, more notably politics, there has also been a correlation to issues that include ethnic cleansing, racial supremacy, oppression of various minority groups around the world, unfair compensation to various groups. This is why we have a gap in terms of compensation between men and women in most nations. These different issues are impacting various people groups and nations around the globe. So that's why it should be part of our conversations, and they should be understood, especially by people in power who can do something about this in order to have more fair workplace for all of their employees. To understand diversity management, we can first reflect on cultural competency, perhaps as one example, and how the two connect. Cultural competency is the continuous learning process which enables one person to function effectively in the context of many differences among his or her colleagues in the workplace. Diversity management, on the other hand, is the process of becoming culturally competent by understanding the needs, the desires, the wants, the beliefs of each person that we work with while providing them opportunities to contribute to the collective whole that makes our department, our organizations, our teams a little bit better or a lot better, perhaps, if we work synergistically. So managing diversity is about enabling each member of your teammates or group members to perform up to or beyond his or her potential. It is about creating a competitive advantage for the organization through the human resources asset that your organization has. The purpose of diversity management is to develop everyone's capacity to accept, to incorporate, to empower the diverse human talents in the organization, in the nation, and eventually in the world, so we can all be as productive as possible. Diversity is both a national as well as an international reality, and we must make it our strength by working synergistically. So workforce diversity management is about increasing our cultural competency. It's about understanding people as individuals rather than groups and building productive human relationships in the workplace by focusing on the alignment of our behaviors. In other words, we need to be consistent in terms of what we think, what we feel, and how we behave every single day toward our colleagues and our customers, our vendors who are different than us. Diversity is a reality of life, and it requires examining our own beliefs, our own values, as well as learning the skills of appropriately dealing with those whose personal beliefs and professional values may be a little bit different or a lot different than ourselves. If we want to take advantage of diversity, it should lead to equity, to inclusion, and productivity. Managing differences means working with everyone in the department, in the company, in the organization to serve all of your customers and clients in a quality manner. Everyone in the company must be able to adjust and adapt to the changing environments and circumstances of your customers in each moment. Keep in mind, customers could be very, very different from day to day as they bring their cultural backgrounds with them. So diversity management is about creating consistency and harmony in our head, in our heart, in our habits about people of diverse backgrounds and cultures. In other words, what you think, what you feel, and how you behave should all be consistent in order for you to be respected by your colleagues and employees. Mahatma Gandhi said that happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. The same thing can be applied, obviously, in the workplace. So diversity management is about creating happiness through harmony in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our behaviors every single day. The former American President Franklin D. Roosevelt mentioned that we're a nation of many nationalities, many races, many religions, bound together by a single unity, the unity of freedom and equality. Whoever seeks to set one nationality against another seeks to degrade all nationalities. Whoever seeks to set one race against another seeks to enslave all races. Whoever seeks to set one religion against another seeks to destroy all religions. That's why we cannot have a divided work environment for our employees and colleagues. The demographics of your employee talent and customers are changing. The population and increased influence of various minority groups are growing rapidly, both in the American society as well as in foreign environments. So an understanding of the demographics of the customer base allows managers and employees to maximize changing market opportunities. Leaders and managers that are skilled in managing a cultural diverse customer base and workforce will be more successful and instrumental in improving morale, employee commitment, productivity, customer satisfaction, and the overall competitive advantage of their organizations. We must change our paradigms with the times, because in the past, people had a homogeneous paradigm in workforce because we did not have as much diversity 40, 50 years ago as we do today. Today, people have diverse ideas and a heterogeneous workforce and customer base. Diversity can be best understood sort of like an iceberg, where a portion of it is on the top of the water, but majority of it is in the bottom of the water that cannot be seen by the naked eye. So if we relate the diversity iceberg to the characteristics of human beings, we're going to see certain characteristics that are not necessarily apparent based on the first look, and requires more communication and more reading, more understanding, more questions with that person. On the other hand, there are certain characteristics that are apparent based on first look. So those would be above the waterline, things that we can see by the naked eye in the first few seconds that we get to see an individual. Ultimately, we can place different characteristics about individuals either above the waterline or below the waterline. And we find out and notice that many of those characteristics above the waterline are less important to who a person is in terms of his or her character compared to those that are on the bottom of the iceberg. And also we notice that some of those characteristics above the waterline are characteristics that we have little or no control over, like, for example, our body size, our skin color, our hair color, and so on. So we need to understand that characteristics that are more important about that person's overall character tend to be those that maybe require more communication with them, or even seeing their resume before we hire or decide not to hire them. For example, a person's level of education. So when you're interviewing a person for a job, don't make your decisions based on what you see based on first look. Instead, dig a little bit deeper, look below the waterline. So when it comes to hiring the best talent for a job in the workplace, try to identify those characteristics that are more important to who a person is in terms of his education, for example, his or her experience in the profession. All of those can tell you more about whether a person can do the job or not. So diversity describes all of the personal, professional, and cultural characteristics and qualities that make a person similar to or different from another individual. It is inclusive of all the characteristics that make us unique as human beings. Whether those traits are above the waterline or below the waterline, basically makes you and I unique individuals as human beings. Our goal is to go beyond diversity toward inclusion, because exclusion, segregation, and integration are not going to engage everyone in an equitable manner in the affairs of your team and your organization. Everybody wants to be the place that makes him or her feel that he or she belongs there. Inclusion is one way to help people belong in your team, in your department, and in your organization. Ultimately, your outcome will be synergy through equity and inclusionary practices. You can make diversity an advantage for you, for your team, and for your organization. Good luck.